Good afternoon, welcome back to another Crushing Sounds video. Back with you for another album review, and doubtless you knew this one was coming if I hadn't already mentioned it on the Facebook page. Rammstein. Rammstein. The band say Rammstein, so I'm just going to say Rammstein. Yeah, you probably know who they are. One of the biggest bands in the genre right now, certainly one of the biggest bands in industrial metal, the subgenre that they come from. You're just a massively commercially successful band, and they're very much well known for their transgressive subject matter and lyrics. I don't know most of their lyrics, of course, because I don't speak German. But their lyrics get them a lot of trouble with various distributors, and especially from the German government, which is the country they come from. But they do sing about Nazism, so I don't know what they were expecting there. Of course, the German government would get a little bit antsy about that, but whatever. Yeah, but most of the controversy comes from their explicitly sexual BDSM kind of thing, which is not unique to them. That's what industrial metal does, but something about sex winds people up. Nine Inch Nails say, I want to fuck you like an animal. That pisses people off. Rammstein have a song called Pussy, and Tool have a song called Prison Sex. They all got into trouble for one thing or another. Granted, Tool's song is about child rape, so, but controversy sells, I guess. So, moving on. I struggle hugely with defining what industrial metal is. I find it very hard to describe. So I did some research for this video to find thoughts and opinions on the definition, and I found this really, really good blog from a website called Metal Storm. And there's an article written by a guy who goes by the name of Torturous, I think that's how you pronounce it. So take this with a pinch of salt. It's a blog from someone who has an internet name or whatever. It's a very old article, it came out in like 2004, but it's really, really good if you're interested, so I recommend reading it. I'll leave a link in the description to it. It's just got a few great quotes. For example, he says, industrial metal is a form of anti-music, descendant of Dada, surrealist and performance art, and an artistic manifestation of nihilism. And then he continues when he says, as the purpose of all art is to expand the beholder's perception, so was the purpose of industrial music to help the listener achieve a better understanding and awareness of how the advent of technology influences their view of the world. I can't put it more succinctly than that, really. I could go on and read the whole thing, it's really good, but I won't. Check out the link in the description if you're interested, it's a really, really good read. But yeah, Rammstein. Personal starting bias, I've never really given Rammstein much attention. I'm aware of how big they are, but I don't really listen to industrial metal. Maybe it's the repeated riffs, the electronic synthy stuff which is prevalent. That's not really my thing. I prefer hearing disturbing themes and imagery when it's a deep prog band like Tool, or when we're in the really grotesque side of music like the death metal scene or the gore grind scene. That's completely personal preference, by the way. That's not a knock against the genre. That's just my personal view and why I don't really delve into the genre that much. I tried listening to Nine Inch Nails years ago, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't get into it. I know I probably alienated a bunch of people there. It's not for me, is what I meant. Rammstein, on the other hand, I have heard some of their back catalogue before. I've heard Du Hast, obviously, and yeah, I do enjoy what they do, just not enough to tempt me into diving into their catalogue, really, but many people I hear cite this band as one of their favourite bands of all time, so perhaps I just need to dive in and find out, who knows, maybe I'm just missing something. But it's the first album of theirs, this new album, which is self-titled. It's the first one of theirs I've ever heard all the way through, and this is their first album in 10 years. So this must have been hugely exciting if you're a fan of the band. I bet the hype for this was unreal if in the Rammstein fan base. Probably similar to my excitement over their new fucking Tool album. And I'll move on. That being said, I have seen Rammstein live once, and their shows are legendary for being huge and mental and just no expenses spared on the production values. Yeah, I saw them at Download a couple of years back, and I didn't really know much of their songs other than Du hast, and I think it's called Ich tue dir weh. But yeah, it's one of the most entertaining shows on the planet. Just mental, so much going on in every song, you can never get bored, really. But for the record, I do think that is the primary way one should experience the band other than listening to the music. Check them out live if you can. If you like the music or not, just do it. Fantastic live band. But yeah, the new album, self-titled album, finally here. Overall thoughts right off the bat, I like this album quite a bit. It still hasn't had me frothing at the mouth to dive more into their music, but I enjoyed listening to it for the 3 or 4 times that I did for this review. They do have that industrial metal trait of repeating riffs over and over again, or repeating synths over and over again. But they're just such good riff writers that it never gets boring. If you've heard Du hast, you know what I mean. They can make a really simple riff sound huge and infectious. Du hast's riff is catchier than the fucking vocals on that track. But enough about the past. It's the new album. The opening track... Oh, by the way, this is going to be hysterical, me trying to pronounce these names, because a lot of them are in German. We'll see what happens. Opens up with a track called Deutschland. It's epic, pounding Rammstein brilliance. The beginning of the song's got quite an awesome build-up to its first drop, and I'd imagine if you've been waiting 10 years for this album, that initial build-up in that first song must have you just buzzing on the edge of your seat. It's finally here, kind of thing. And you know, there's a nod to their legacy. The first line is Du hast. So, you know, I see what they did there. We then go into the lead single, Radio, or as they pronounce it, Radio. It's probably the most generic song on the album, I must say. I'm not sure why they picked that as the first single. I don't think it does this album justice. It's fine. But there are songs on this album I like way more, including the next track, Zeig dich. Whatever. I like the clean chorus in that a lot, how it rides through it. It contrasts the stabby verses really, really well, and that's something they do really well. The choruses on this album way better than I thought they were going to be. They're very melodic and catchy, and contrast the punchy guitars. Further along on the album is Was ich lebe. I think that's how you pronounce it. It has a huge chorus that's really, really good, and I love the desperate tone in the way the lead singer, I can't pronounce his name, the desperate tone he gives in the vocals in that is really, really good. That's probably my favourite track on the album, actually, Was ich lebe. Yeah, the album it's kind of what you'd expect from Rammstein. I don't know if I wouldn't know because I haven't heard their back catalogue, but based on what I have heard, I don't think they're massively breaking new ground here, where if you've been waiting 10 years, that might be disappointing, but they still don't sound like anyone else, so, you know, more brilliant Rammstein goodness if this is what you really, really enjoy. They got a song called Sex, a title I can pronounce. Not as controversial as Pussy, probably. It's much more tame in that regard. But, you know, if you want that sadistic BDSM stuff in your Rammstein, you got it here. You've got a ballad as well. Puppe. How do you pronounce that? Puppy. It's a straight up ballad and a really dark aesthetic ballad. It's quite bland at first, but it picks up really well towards the end. It reminds me a lot, I know I'm going to piss off a bunch of fans here, it reminds me a lot of a King 810 ballad, which is very desperate and it starts just shouting the words, not in a screaming sense, like metal vocals sense, but just physically shouting it. And yeah, that's reminded me of King 810, which, in a good way, by the way, people, in a good way. So yeah, the album is really, you know, it's entertaining, and that's all Rammstein need to be. They're really, really entertaining. I hope if you like them before you like this, I hope the hype train hasn't blown it up to way beyond what it could ever be. But as someone who's only a casual, has only a casual liking to the band, I really, really enjoyed this album. I probably will go back and listen to some stuff now. I'm not desperate to. There's more stuff I need to get to. But yeah, I had a good time with this album, a bit more than I thought I would actually. So fair play to Rammstein. Welcome back to the world of metal, boys. I say boys, they've been around the scene a very long time. So welcome back, men, German men. Good to have you back. Hopefully you'll do even more live shows that I can go and see at various festivals and whatnot. And yeah, just some kick-ass industrial metal for those that like that sort of thing. Yeah, cheers, thanks for checking out this video. Got plenty of stuff in the pipeline. So you'll start seeing on our Facebook page us plugging some of the lesser known Bloodstock bands that we're excited about because we enjoy doing that. And yeah, I hope you stick around and check out some more of our content on various social media platforms. You know where to look. Yeah, cheers guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.